This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. A lot of you asked me to cover this, so I'll cover it. Whenever anyone dies, obviously we all tend to think it could be a potential sacrifice. We look at the numerology of the date. We look at the person involved, and we connect the dots or attempt to connect the dots. And most of you have heard that Stephen Hawking has passed. And there's a lot of bizarre coincidences to that. Now, the question is, did Stephen Hawking already pass? And did they just announce that he was passing on this date? There's many people that think he's been dead quite a while. I can't give you a definitive answer on that, but I can show you how these dates line up with numerology, the coincidence, wink, wink, that we're supposed to believe, and then how the media is already deflecting and already has articles out there talking about the mere coincidences of the date today connecting to his death. So they're almost like deflecting before anybody starts trying to break down the actual numerology surrounding his death. Now, before I get into it, most of you will remember I covered that website every year, Death List. And they come out with this list of people. I had to take the video down because I figured they probably would hit me with that for hate speech or something really rude. But Stephen Hawking was on the list. So far they've gotten 3 correct, which is somewhat interesting. But today happens to be National Pi Day, right? For those of you, right? Pi mathematics, 3.14, March 14th. And it's a day for scientists, an annual day for scientists and mathematicians around the world as they celebrate the value of pi. And that even includes quote-unquote deals on pizzas and actual pizza pies, which is another story inside the story, right? Referring to pizza and pie. But nonetheless, let's talk about the date and the numerology revolving around this, because Stephen Hawking is supposedly the most known and notorious scientist this day and age, right? So some people, this is what Time Magazine has already released, an article with the title, people think it's an interesting coincidence that Stephen Hawking died on Pi Day. Some people on the internet think Stephen Hawking couldn't have calculated a better day to die. So you see how they're already deflecting, in a sense, because they know people who have a brain are going to look at the date, the numerology, and the fact that Stephen Hawking passed in this date, and they're going to put stories out. So Time had already written this story in advance, as well as USA Today, Business Insider, everybody out there. They're all deflection stories about mere coincidence or something connected with the universe, right? Some of the articles are talking about how the universe and, the universe knows, and it was, the universe did it deliberately. I mean, just, New Age, just insanity. But the 76-year-old theoretical physicist, one of science's most famous luminaries, died on March 14, also known as National Pi Day. And again, that's the annual day for scientists and mathematicians around the world to celebrate the value of pi. The article says, suffice it to say that the noteworthy coincidence was not lost on the internet. The date of Hawking's death, 3/14, is significant because 3.14 are the first 3 digits of pi, a bedrock of geometry. Specifically, it's the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. Again, circle, right? We know what the symbol of the circle means. How they use circles, ritual circles are used in all forms of magic. All right? Know where we're going with this? It says, naturally, the fact that science big celebration overlap with the day the life of the party left us is making people I don't even know. Okay. I guess they're saying he's the life of the party. So they're saying it's a big coincidence that the science big celebration overlap with the day the life of the party left us is making people geek out about the details. As soon as news spread that Hawking died early Wednesday morning in London, people were quick to connect the dots. And remember, this is how they work, right? He could have been dead for a while. Could he have been a ritual sacrifice? I mean, those things you could speculate on day and night. He could have been dead for years for all we know. But they want people out there to not think of these things or look at these things because they know that people have been debunking stuff such as Prince's sacrifice and the death of his sacrifice, the date numerology and the significance of those things, as well as other celebrity deaths. But they still have to go along with their plan. They still have to go along with this stuff, so they have to put out deflecting articles from, outlets like The Times or USA Today. And then in addition to it being National Pi Day, it is also the birthday of Albert Einstein, right? So the USA Today says, so is there some mystical theory explaining how noted astrophysicist Stephen Hawking died on the same day Albert Einstein was born, which also happens to be the day we honor Pi? It says, nope, it's all one giant coincidence. That's what USA Today says. And that's what all of these media outlets are pushing. Hawking died at 76. His family confirmed early Wednesday that he was considered one of the world's foremost theoretical physicists, developing critical theories on black holes and writing a brief history of time to explain complex scientific concepts to the masses. Hawking's birth and passing align with the most important names in science. He was born on January 8th, 1942, the 300th anniversary of the death of famed astronomer Galileo. Hawking passed on March 14th, the same day fellow physicist Albert Einstein was born. And it says, of course, this caught the attention of social media. So they put up all these tweets of people saying stuff, saying it could be a sacrifice, a ritual sacrifice, things like that. But then USA Today will say, oh, these people are crazy, and all this stuff is just a coincidence, and it's how the universe is, aligning itself and all that. And all you could say, for starters, for someone like Stephen Hawking is, I guess he's going to find out, or has already found out, if God is real or not. Guess he found out the hard way. Unless, of course, he repented and found Jesus Christ on his deathbed or before he passed. Which is a possibility, but highly unlikely. So, when these events occur, I think we're going to start seeing this more and more now, because I feel like we've gotten to a point where they're so afraid of us. And I'm not talking about the alt-right, because those are obviously bought and paid for operatives, COINTELPRO. I'm talking about us, the little guys, YouTubers, people with blogs and websites. As soon as the event in Florida happens, how quick did they have to come out? I mean, they came out immediately and deflected and started using that trigger word that we all know, right? Revolving CRYSIS. And I'm spelling that wrong deliberately, not because I'm stupid. Same here, right? Because they saw what happened when Prince died. They saw what happened when, guys like Chris Cornell passed, wink, wink, passed, or, took their own lives. And they see all this stuff out there where people are pretty much debunking the way, they give you the timeline of how these people pass, and there's all these shady stories surrounding it, the numerology, because people are figuring this stuff out. So they want to make sure that articles like Business Insider, websites like Business Insider have articles out there where they're saying, is it a coincidence? Well, it is, but, it's the universe aligning together to make this happen. And they say, coincidentally, Hawking died on Einstein's birthday. And coincidentally, he died on National Pi Day, which is 3/14, March 14th, today. So a lot of you asked me my opinion on it. And again, when these things happen, all you can do is obviously give your opinion on it, which even this day and age, you're not allowed to do, right? Do I believe this is a mere coincidence? No. Could he have been dead for a long time and they just announced it on this date? Possibly. Could it have been a ritual sacrifice? Possibly. Remember, these people, almost like they choose the times too where they're going to pass, because they believe that their soul's going to go into another body. They take children and they do rituals with children, believing they pass their soul into the child. All sorts of bizarre stuff that goes back to, the Book of the Dead. And just these bizarre rituals that these occultists believe in. And make no mistake about it, Hawking was an occultist, not just a scientist, because really, what's the difference, right? Remember, National Pi Day, the circle, all these things aligning. And then them coming out going, coincidence. The articles aren't going, Stephen Hawking passed. Let's talk about all the wonderful accomplishments of him and his books and this and that, right? Isn't that usually what happens when these people die? They want us to kiss their rear end. Every article out there is praising him, and then, quotes from celebrities or other important people we're told are important, saying how great they were. Every article almost out there about him, if you look it up, is about deflecting based off of the date today. Coincidence? Conspiracy? Coincidence? Conspiracy? Now, why do you think that is? Why are they so prepared for this, right? These articles are obviously written in advance. All of these media outlets have the same article going, coincidence? Question mark. Coincidence? Question mark. No, yes, maybe. And that's done deliberately, in advance. They obviously knew that this day was chosen for whatever reason, which is pretty obvious, right? And it had to be this date. But they also know, hey, people out there are waking up, they're exposing this stuff, and then they're making all this stuff, people are waking up because they're seeing these dates and they're seeing it's not a coincidence. So what do we have to do? The same stuff we do with Jimmy Kimmel and all these talking heads on TV. We'll put out stuff to deflect, use a little humor, talk about coincidence, show some tweets from people who look like crazy people. And then people will just go, oh yeah, it must just be a coincidence. That's how mind control works. So Hawking allegedly passed today at the age of 76, I believe it was, on Pi Day. Also, Albert Einstein's birthday. Coincidence? I think not. I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.